Hi and welcome back to another video of JPlay. I am Marcus and yes, I finally heard you. I can't tell you how many comments I received asking me for another playthrough of World of Warcraft, the board game. And for whatever reason, there was always things that came in the way. Looked at other cool new games, but kind of forgot how cool this game really is. So I asked you guys, mainly on my channel, if you wanted to see another playthrough, and the responses were pretty much, yeah, absolutely go for it. So here I am. And as I think there were also a lot of comments asking me to do, basically integrate Burning Crusade into my playthrough. That's what I'm doing here. I'm not using the other one, the smaller ones. I keep forgetting what it is. I think it's the red one. I have it. Only have the German version of this expansion. Unfortunately, this was a little bit something on my behalf, but still I have it. I can use it, I can mix and match. I have no problems with that. But I think there's already a lot going on in the base game with the expansion that we should be okay. And table-wise, I'm really at my limits here right now. I had to do a lot of changes to my setup here in order to make things work, but hopefully everything will turn out to be okay. Before I get started, a huge shout out to all of my patrons and channel members out there. You guys are really, truly amazing. So if you want to support my little channel, you will find a link to my page on Patreon. You can join me also here directly on YouTube. There is this little thanks button which you can click for a small or maybe not so small donation. Definitely like and subscribe. Leave a comment. This also greatly helps the channel. And I think with that being said, we should be pretty much good to go. I already went through, I think, at least I hope, through the entirety of setup. And the last time I played on the Alliance side. So this time I will go with the Horde. And last time I think I played a somewhat of a shaman, a sorcerer kind of character, at least as far as I remember. So at this point in time, I really decided to go. It's not necessarily a tank, but I think this is some kind of a sharpshooter thunder shot here. His special ability is War Storm Pierce. Start of the first combat round at 1 red die to your dice pool, which is always nice. Of course, we are starting with some equipment. No, we don't have any power abilities actually. We only have equipment here. So we have our bow, which is a gun, old blunderbuss, which adds blue dice pool, and we can basically at the end of a reroll step we can spot some dice to get an extra die, which is definitely nice. Then we have our Hunter's Plate, which gives us a red die, and we have our Huntsman Cape here, which simply gives us some more armor. We don't have any talents left. We start the game with 5 coins, and yes, these are not the coins that come with the game. These are some custom coins. I'm using metal coins here. And as we are a level 1 character, we will start with 3 health and 3 energy each. You might wonder yourself if you don't know the expansion. Yes, in the expansion Burning Crusade you can go up to level 6, so we have more talent and I think even more power cards in here. Can't quite remember, definitely more talent cards in here. And there's also a new experience track here on the new Outland game board, which is really causing all the problems here, which allows us to go up to level 6. And I think if we are going beyond level 6, in this case, I think we still get not experience point, but get coins for it. I have to really check that actually, but I think we will get something out of this. What's also very different in this Burning Crusade expansion are the bosses basically, or the your enemies, which you now have to defeat in one of those dungeons here. So you cannot simply go to a region and then encounter the boss and hope for the best. No, in this case you really have to go through 2 stages of the respective dungeon that belongs to the appropriate boss or the respective boss. I will show them to you in a second, and then you will be allowed to face them. The problem really is these dungeons are already pretty brutal. I'm not sure if this really works in a solo mode, quite honestly, so don't expect me to win. If I really see I will not stand a chance, first of all, we really have to go to level 6, you see that here, otherwise we are toast anyway. But again, maybe I will go through a dungeon anyway, because there are some easier ones on the main game board here on Lordaeron, which is here, for example, the Scarlet Monastery, which is only quote-unquote a level 3 dungeon, and there is also a level 2 dungeon. Where is it? I think, yeah, down here next to Alliance territory. So this is a level 2 dungeon, only comes with 2 stages, so these are actually beatable. So you have to pretty much face 2 bosses, or sub-bosses, or small boss, I don't know, in order to go through these steps. And they come with a lot of rewards. Of course, you can really gain a lot of experience points, but also a lot of other useful items, which you could find in this deck here. As we are Horde, we are starting here in Brill, and I'm using now slightly different solo rules, kindly provided by Scott Lewis Sigma Series 13 on May 2020. So these rules are relatively current, and I think he pretty much, yeah, somewhat extended the original rules by Tom Scott here, Steelpike, which he did, wow, 2005. And again, these rules now also include both of the expansions, but you can also use these rules just for the base game alone. So thanks so much for those rules. Let's see how those go. Everything that you will spot that seems kind of is most certainly caused by me and my goofs, and not by these rules. Relatively sure about those. As for our big baddie here, we have Kyle Fass. I'm relatively certain I'm butchering his name here. He is pretty much located in this dungeon. All these dungeons for those end bosses are on the Outland board, so this is ultimately where you have to get to. And again, you have to get to 2 stages, so you need 2 rounds alone for the prep, and only in the 3rd round, basically the 3rd stage of this dungeon, will you then be allowed to encounter them and do all kind of nasty stuff to him. Of course, I'm using the 4 characters board, side of the board, even though the rules are not very specific, but I'm relatively certain that's supposed for a solo character here. I will not go through the special rules for Kyle Fass. He has a threat of 7, attack of 29, which is not nothing, and a health of 27, which is then in the end beatable. First of all, we will have to get there. Currently, we have 3 quests that are available to us. We have 2 of those gray quests, and here is our first green quest. This is already something that is very special to the solo cooperative rules. You base the amount of quests based on the number of players. So I think you have 1 more gray quest than there are a number of players. And you do the same for the opposing faction. And for those quests, you're only spawning the neutral enemies here, the blue ones here, which I already did. So anytime you see a blue creature, it's either coming from my quest or from those opposing quests. And the cool thing is there are rules in the upkeep space where you roll for these cards and you get to replace them. So things will change throughout the game. Very easy, but also very, very cleverly done, I must add. And I think with that being said, we should be pretty much good to go. We still have 2 actions, and we can do whatever we want to do with those actions. We have 5 coins right now. So one of our first actions could be to go for a training, because of course we do have some level 1 powers here. And again, getting some upgrades is definitely not a bad thing. The thing is, I think with that we will not be able to challenge something. The question is, do we want to challenge something? Do we want to prep first? Because then we have it at least for the entirety of the game. Getting more blue dice into the dice pool is great, because this allows us to take out enemies before they get a go. So this is very cool thing about those ranged or magical characters. They get to shoot relatively early on. Getting 2 rerolls, very, very nice. Obviously, and the Hunter's Mark is also a nice thing. We can basically change the result of up to 2 separate dice. Basically, by 1, we can add 1 to those. This is the most expensive one. This is... The thing is, okay, I see that now. It's relatively cheap, but every time we are using it, we have to basically pay the energy cost here. These ones are basically ongoing abilities, these aspects here. This is an aspect, you can only ever have 1 aspect on the board. This depends a little bit on which character you're playing. They have everything unique keywords or so. And for our Thundershot, it's aspect here, for example. So I think I am going to train first. We have the money and we have the actions. And yeah, I guess I want more dice for now. So we are going with the Scorpid Sting here. We have to spend 2 gold for this. So we're getting 3 right back. Not a problem. And the problem with this game, though, is we are not getting to equip this power right away. We have to put it under our spellbook token here accordingly, and then at the end of this round, through the upkeep step, we are then allowed to equip it accordingly. But I think right now we don't really need it. For our next action, we are going to move. And right now we have 2 quests within walking distance. We can move up to 2 spaces with each of our movement action, and we have 2 of those green quest creatures here. So we have Terror in the Fields, and we have a Howling in Haunted Places here. This one up here would give us a new item. This one here gives us a little bit more gold and a little bit more of experience points. I think this one here, this is a Gnoll, I believe, is either slightly more difficult. Let us check those actually. So the Gnoll is a green one, 4 threat, 3 attack, 3 health. Okay, and the Ghoul 632. So a little bit, yeah, we could take out the, that's the thing, we could take out the Ghoul basically with 1 shot because we will roll 2 blue dice. Whereas with the Gnoll, he's definitely easier to hit with only a threat of 4, but we have to maybe suffer some things. What are the end of each round, the active must lose 1 energy for each 1 result. Okay, that's not the end of the world. For the Ghoul, characters may not reroll dice using their reroll values. I don't think we have actually any rerolls. No, I think I will go for the Gnoll quest. Yeah, let's do that. So we are moving 1 space up here into Garen's Haunt, and now we would have to take an encounter action. The problem is we have already used both of our actions here, but I still think it was worth it, quite honestly. But that's already the end of our round. We will now go through the upkeep. So we will do our character management. We will take the Scorpid Sting, and I think, yeah, we can basically put it in any of those 4 actually. I think we have an additional one here, but I think let's put it in here because that's one that only takes instant powers, which is these one here. Again, with instant powers you pay them every time you're using them. There are these other kind of powers with this little bluish one. This is when you pay the power once you equip them, and then they have an ongoing effect. In this case I really have to actively trigger it, but I still think it was worth it. I think in respect to character management there's really not a lot more that we can do at this point in time. So we are now advancing the turn track. In a solo game we are doing this 1-2 because we are simulating basically the other faction here right away. I think the rules are not clear, but I think we are still adding those symbols here. Even if we passed over it in a normal multiplayer game, you do that really step by step. There are no ways to do that as far as I can remember. So we're adding another triangle item, which is the Scroll of Lesser Strength, which goes into the so-called merchant deck. It does not count towards your back limit. That's never a bad thing. Back limit is 3, by the way. And start off your dice pool, step this card to add 2 red dice to your dice pool. You will only use 1 scroll per combat round. Okay, these are one-time uses, but really make you very, very agile. 2 red dice, really not nothing, especially early game. But 7 coins, definitely also not nothing. So we are simply adding this to the merchant deck here. And I think we're also now doing, that's now where the solo rules come into the picture. So we are doing various stuff. We already did our character management. We did advance the turn track, advance the market 2 spaces instead of 1. But with the Burning Crusade expansion, we are going through this time track twice, by the way. So we don't have to do that within 15 turns. This would be really pointless to play. And then we do the upkeep step, which you see below. And then we do the event card merchant check, where we are pretty much dealing with the deck, dealing with the neutral factions, missions, and so on. But first of all, we are doing our upkeep here accordingly. The first thing that we do is to go for the merchant check here. So we are rolling a number of dice equal to the amount of players. We are playing alone, so we are only rolling 1 die. If we're rolling a 1, we are removing 1 card from the deck. And no, I think this was either a 3 or a 4, but nothing happened here. Now we do the same for the neutral faction quests, and it's basically the same thing for each one. We are removing or replacing the quest here respectively. So I will always on a 1, first one, second one, third one. No, we are good. We are not messing around with those neutral characters. That's all what these opposing faction cards do. They will either remove blue neutral characters from the board or they will add them. We don't care about whatever the actual quests and whatsoever. This is really just here to hinder us. And actually I just noticed something. We shouldn't have added the card into the merchant deck at this point in time. This is really that you do after the upkeep. So you're not removing the card that you, or randomly removing the card that you have just added, but nothing happened here, so I think not a big deal, which then also means we are moving into the next horde turn. So I think our first thing that we want to do, we could train again. So we still have some money left, but we can't equip it. That's the problem. So maybe I should have gone for two. Oh, that's now interesting. Maybe I should have gone for two training actions actually. Yeah, I think I'm really a little bit rusty with this game, so bear with me. But still, of course, I will not take anything back at this point in time because stuff has happened in the meantime. So I guess we are going to challenge or encounter our first question. I think this is the only time when I will read those cards. They come with some very nice flavor text. So again, here we have a howling in haunted places at Garen's Horde. There are countless mass graves scattered across Tirisful glades, legacies of the plague, the Magister tells you. The Scourge is sending gnolls in to steal bodies and bolster the ranks of their armies. These grave robbers must be stopped. And again, that's what we are going to do. So we are moving into the first combat battle of this game, and I must say the combat system in this game is the best out there of all the RPGs. I really played my fair shares of these kind of RPG games. This combat mechanic, yes, you're rolling a ton of dice, but it's still so cleverly done. I really can't tell you how much I enjoy this combat mechanic. So we're basically moving down to the combat area down here. So we have one for our side and then there's one on the other side. So if you're playing a multiplayer game, you have one faction sitting on this side, the other faction sitting on the other side. I think you get the idea. And the first thing that we will do is to basically build our dice pool. So we have to check all our stats here. These are basically freebies, which really they say add one blue die to your dice pool. Nice. Then this one here, this is the Hunter's Blade. This also adds one red die to the dice pool. Because we have the wall stump, so we're really charging into the battle here. Start of the first combat round, add one red dice to your dice pool. I must not forget to remove it after the very first round of combat. Then we get a green die from our Huntsman cape. Again, never a bad thing. And now if we want, we can also basically add one energy. We can trigger our Scoped Sting here in order to add another blue die to our dice pool. And this is already one of these tricky decisions, honestly. I'm not sure if we should do that or not. I mean, we are rolling, that's really not an awful lot of dice. We might get another one if we're lucky. No, so I think I talked myself into this. We are spending one energy in order to trigger the Scoped Sting here, which allows us to add one more blue die to the die pool. And that's basically already the dice pool step of combat. Next, we are rolling those dice. Wow, that's a surprise. And for that, I will bring down my trusted Lego dice tower, which I constructed. And then now we are rolling those dice. I think we don't have any real rerolls right now, but we still have something in our reroll step. But first of all, let's roll those dice. Okay, that's terrible because I already see a 1 here. And a 1 means the active character must lose 1 energy for each 1 result. But again, we are only doing this at the end of our reroll step. We don't have any rerolls, so we will most likely suffer that energy loss. So I think nothing we can do about it right now. But there's still stuff we can do. I think we are already in a good shape. I think we might be actually able to win this encounter, but we may suffer some losses here, not the end of the world. First of all, end of your reroll step. Again, we are not rerolling, but still there is a reroll step. We will spot one 7+, and guess what? We have a 7+ to roll an additional blue die. Isn't that lovely? But then again, it's the end of our reroll step, so I think we don't get another reroll with the old Blunderbuss, but still we are rolling it. Hooray! Let's bring the 7 back. Let's roll another blue die, and this is another step. Yeah, this is now a little bit of a timing thing. End of your reroll step, spot 1 7 to roll an additional. I don't think that we get to do that again. Again, this is something where you can already let me know if I'm incorrect or not, but I think actually that we have defeated him. The thing is, we have to adhere to his special rules, which again tell us end of the reroll step, the active character must lose 1 energy for each 1. So we have a 1 here, unfortunately, so we will have to suffer 1 energy drain, but again, not the end of the world. And then we are moving all those dice into the respective areas here. Again, the threat is a 4, but that's basically our target number. So a 4 or higher is pretty much a success in this case. Again, we are rolling 8-sided dice here. And there are specific places where you are placing those dice, or the results, I should add. So in this case, we are not really adding the dice, we are adding the tokens here. So we have basically 3 of those hits. Again, his threat value is a 4. So yeah, I think we should be okay. So we're adding 1, 2, and 3. And I explain this relatively slow at this point in time. And also I think I may have to do that one more time because, yeah, we will take him out now, actually. We will. So we have done this, so this is cool. Then we also were successful with our defense. So we're adding another defense token into the defense area. And we also have a hit here with our strength value. Again, the target threat is a 4, which means we have to, or we are allowed to add 1 more hit to the defense area. We don't have any attrition right now. There are abilities or weapons that give you attrition. Attrition is basically extra damage that you do, but you now do these things in order. The first thing that will happen now, so now we will forget about all those dice, so we have assigned those. The next thing that we will do is to check, do we have enough range damage in order to take out the enemy? We have now 1, 2, 3 range damage, and guess what? His health is a 3. In this case, we are fighting a green gnoll up here. So we have enough to take him out, which means we are not going into the defense phase where he would be allowed to take damage to us. And I think he would have done 1 piece of damage to us, or 1 point of damage to us. But again, because we have taken him out with our mighty blunderbuss, we are allowed to remove that miniature. And because it's the last miniature of the group, we have won this quest here. First of all, we are getting 4 gold coins. Hooray, I take that. Then we will get 4 experience points. I will do that in a moment. But first of all, we will go for these 2 cards. So basically, we are getting what this triangular symbol means. We get 1 item. But because there is a 2, we get to choose from those 2. And then we basically get to keep 1 of those. So let's have a quick look at those. And I think this looks, I already spotted it. This looks pretty cool. A fine long bow and soldier's armor. The only problem is that these are both level 2 items, which I can get them. That's not a problem. I can put them into my bag, but I can't use them. But we were also getting the experience points, so we should be good. So this is now really a very tricky thing. Getting 2 blue dice and a reroll of 1, it's just huge, but we can also get an extremely heavy armor. Oh, this is already a very, very crunchy decision. With this 3 here, we may no longer have to worry about dice. Getting 3 green dice right now instead of the 1 is huge, but also getting an extra blue die and a reroll could be also nice. But I think we have just gotten our Scorpid Sting, which gets us a blue die. No, I think let's go for the soldier's armor for now. Might be a little bit short-sighted actually, but I still think I want this instead. We can't immediately equip it, so we will put it underneath our bag here. It can take up to 3 items, but we will equip it in a moment. When we're ending our turn actually. Oh, we still have 1 more action left, right? Yeah, we just encountered this group of gnolls, but we are still getting our 4 experience points, so I think we should be good. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have made it into level 2, which means we are allowed to take our item. The cool thing is whenever you get an extra level, you're automatically healing up to your new limits. So first of all, we are moving in here, which means we are now at 4 health. Okay, I take that. And we are going to 5 energy. So that's really pretty huge. And again, we get to auto heal right away, so we don't need to waste our turn with a rest. That's really amazing. And that's not all, because we are now in level 2. You just see that down here. We are allowed to choose our first level 2 talent. So we have our precision, end of your reroll step. Yeah, this is already here to home. This is when you don't really know the decks, and of course I should have noticed that. If I would have seen this, I might have reconsidered not taking the armor. I still can revert it. I mean, I can do that in any order, so I will allow myself with the mulligan, but I still think there are other cool things in here. So the precision, end of your reroll step, you may spot 1/8, that's red or blue, to place 1 hit token in the damage box or the defense box. That's pretty nice too, actually. Oh, that's also very nice. But this one here, the energy cost of using your Serpent Sting, Scorpion Sting, and multi-shot is lowered by 1, which means we get this blue die here for free as long as we have it. And again, it's energy. We can run out of energy relatively quickly, but here 1-8. You may spot 1-8. Yeah, I don't know. I think I will really incline to go with the efficiency. We can always still go for the lightning reflex. So when we go into, let's say, level 3, we can also go with level 2 talents, if that's what we think. But I guess we are going with efficiency. I really do like efficiency. Why not? So we're taking this card and assigning it down here accordingly. And again, I must not forget that I have it. But in this case, if I'm cheating myself, I'm okay. If I'm cheating the game, I typically try to revert that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that was already a lot going on. Of course, let's not forget to award ourselves our 5 coins. Oh, we could train again. Definitely something worth considering. Okay, let's do some cleanups. This quest is gone. It was one of those Cray quests. The problem is we never see Cray quests again. So we have to go with at least a green quest. If we want, we can immediately draw a yellow quest, but I don't see the point right now. So I'm relatively certain we will go for another green quest here. And these are the Spalling's Plight. We have a blue. Oh, that's more ooze. So that's a green one, exactly. That's one of the expansions. It's already a level 3. There are bonuses, so that's cool. If we're going for a level 3 quest, and we will do it as a level 2 character, we get 1 extra experience point. It's never a bad thing. Here we could gain already blue things. Wow, 9 coins, 6 experience points. That's quite a lot. The thing is, I'm not sure if we still have a blue ooze, and I believe if we can't spawn it, I guess we are basically replacing this card. And no, just check the rules. This is only true for the quest creatures. For the blue independent ones, I also checked the Burning Crusade rules. There's only 1 blue goose in the bag. So we are not spawning any more independent creatures here. So we are adding basically a green node to Coalfang Reservoir. Oh, that's not a node. What am I talking about? I think that's a spawning. No, that's something else. That's not a node. That has to be something tougher, right? And indeed, it's a fungal giant who go to Coalfang Reservoir already here on the Outland board. Definitely a nasty bugger who comes with an awful lot of health, and the attack even on the green mode already. That's pretty brutal, actually. That's an 8. Wow, that's tough. So we need to roll an 8 in order to hit him. And during the ranged strike step, fungal giants are considered to have 5 additional health until the start of the rest. So we can't easily take them out just with our ranged attacks. So this guy is truly brutal, but there's nothing we can do. We have to live with it. Or we still have 2 other quests, so don't get me wrong. But still, this is already pretty brutal, actually. Wow. But okay, we still have 1 more action left, right? Again, we could now debate if we want to train or if we want to prepare moving towards maybe Brill. Again, there is a city which we can use, and we have an alliance flight path here. With flight path we can go place. So in theory we could move over to the Outland board, but I think right now that's not. I think we still want to take out that additional Cray quest here. Our starting quest with the, I forget what it is. A ghoul, of course, easy as that. The thing is, we will not get there. And that was maybe the one piece. We have 2 movement points which we get, right? So we could move 1, 2, 1, 2. Or we could, again, simply go in here. And then we could go for 2 things that we can do. The thing is, we don't really have an awful lot of money. We are at 7, so we can't buy a lot of things anyway. But I still think, because we will draw an event basically in a minute, I think we want to move to Brill, because from here we can also make it to this space anyway, so that's not a problem. From here we can then still decide if we want to use a flight path or if we want to whatever trade with the city or whatnot. So I think that's our best bet, because that's already our second action done. So we are pretty much going through the end of round stuff. So first of all, we will equip our soldier's armor here. So we'll put it onto here. Again, it has to go to a armor slot. And no! No, okay, I was not reading it correctly. So I think, sorry, I have to take a mulligan. You were screaming at your screen. I'm relatively certain about this. My armor slot doesn't take mail. We can only take cloth and leather. So no, of course, I can still take it to sell it, but I still think in this case we would have gone for the fine longbow instead. Yeah, of course. Oh, sorry for that. I'm terribly sorry. I will leave a note or a comment doing editing. But now the question is, do I really want this? I mean, it's an extra die and a reroll. Yeah, I think it's better, right? That's 2, and here we could gain 1, but here we get 1 plus no, I think that's not a brain. This is, we are allowed to do that. So this is a bow. Here it says bow, so we are totally fine. Oh boy, that was already a pretty goof on my behalf, but yeah. Luckily, I caught it early enough. But then again, I could have also, yeah, this changes. Then maybe I would have gone for this instead. Oh, this is pretty bad. And I think I have to do that then. I think I want more green dice. And this is the thing in this game. You don't want just only blue or only red or only green. You really have to mix. In the expansion you can have up to 10 dice. In the base game only 7, so there it was even more important to balance things out a little bit, but still you have to do that. So again, apologies for all these takesy backsies. So we will go for the lightning reflexes and that. So in total we get now basically 3 green dice for our defense, and we have the blue die here. Wow, that was already a pretty big goof on my behalf. Sorry for that, but now we carry on, and I will try to really pay more attention. Then we're moving 1-2 steps further. We will have to add both of those, but again, I believe we do all the, let's say, solo rules, cooperative rules, things before we actually bring out a new event or a new item here. So let's roll our die for the merchant deck. So that's a 4, we are good. And then we are doing the same thing for these quests. 1, okay, this is gone. Let's roll them first, right? I mean, let's do that. That's quicker. And 2. So this one, this is a gray one. This is gone. We are replacing it with the green one automatically. So there are no choices. We'll always go for the highest level card. So this is the new quest. It doesn't come with any blue neutral enemies, so we are not adding those, but we are removing those from the ruins of Alterac, which is pretty cool because this allows us to pass through that. The blue enemies, the neutrons, these are the roaming monsters which you have to engage. Once you enter the space, your next action has to be a challenge action. So removing those is definitely beneficial, and you don't get any experience points for those. They're just here to annoy us. So I think this definitely worked in our favor. I take that. So we have dealt with all the events, not the events, with all the quests and with the merchant deck. So now we are dealing with this. So let's add this item in first because it's much quicker. Oh, that's a good one. Minor mana potion. Ultra cheap, doesn't count towards your back limit. After you spend an energy, discard this card to regain 1 energy. You may only use 1 potion per combat round. That's a very cool one. That's a very, very cool one. I want this. But for now, we have to put it into the merchant deck respectively. And we will go through that, I think, yeah, when we are really dealing with a town or so. For now, let's not really waste our time on this. But then we are dealing with the event. And here we have the Beasts of Lordaeron. Oh, it's come with a blue one. So we have to keep going, actually. Unless I think we are drawing the same one, then we will stop. I think this is how it works. Again, I'm a little bit rusty with these rules. Starting with the current faction, each faction. So there are specific instructions for this kind of event. And in this case, we are simply moving 1 blue faction, the closest one closer to us. And I think 1, 2 should be close. 1, 2. I think this is closer here. 1 and 2. Okay, we have done that, and because it had a plus, we are drawing another event card. It comes with another plus. Are you kidding me? Rare goods. Draw the top 5 cards from the hexagon item deck and place them in the merchant deck. Wow! Okay, these are new ones, so that's also an event card from the expansion. I think, yeah, there is this green star, so let's have a look at those. Level 6, level 5... Level 5, yeah, I think these are really high-powered cards, actually, and another level 5 card. So let's not worry about those for now. Are you kidding me? But still, yeah, it has. We are still adding it to the merchant deck. Don't get me wrong, but we will have to go with the next card. And I believe, yeah, here we now have a card where it has to stop because it comes with doesn't come with another plus. And here it's the Hellfire War. And indeed, the wars are being covered. If you are playing solo, we are basically ignoring these wars. A little bit unfortunate, really a cool card, but yeah, I understand it because I can't be in two places at the same time in this case. So we have to basically replace it, and this is the replacement, but I think the replacement is also not bad. If a character is any region in the eastern or western plague lands, he must spend 1 energy before taking a travel action. The thing is, remove this card immediately when there are no blue creatures in both the eastern or western plague lands. So neither here in yellow or in orange. There aren't any blue characters, so we can, I believe, immediately discard this card. But we went through 4 cards already in this event phase, but there are definitely much more than those. But that's now really basically the end of the round. And quite honestly, I will end my playthrough for today. There's still a lot going on. I'm still not 100% comfortable with my camera and light setup here, so I have to really check that. I already spotted some goofs, so I really have to focus. But I promise you, with the next video, I'm relatively certain we will speed things up and we will definitely see much more action. Anyway, I really hope you are enjoying it so far, that you're also looking forward to more episodes of World of Warcraft, the board game, with a Burning Crusade expansion. I'm really pumped playing this game again here on camera, and really, depending on how things go, I really must consider to play this more often. It's so much fun. These 2 turns alone are already so much fun. I'm leveling up your character, making these choices. Yes, you're rolling an awful lot of dice, but there are a lot of ways how you can mitigate poor dice rolls and do all kinds of stuff. It's really oozing with theme and whatnot. It's so cool. The battle mechanics are amazing. Wow, can't tell you how excited I am playing this game again. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know what I should be doing, and definitely make me aware of any rule goofs I was most likely doing. I already caught some things which I kind of reverted. It was not really a rules mistake per se, but I have chosen something that I wasn't supposed to choose. But that really happens when you control a lot of these things, like the camera, and again, getting reacquainted with the rules. I'm a little bit rusty, so yeah, definitely send in your comments, your suggestions, your rules corrections. They're more than appreciated. And yeah, with that being said, hope to see you soon in one of my other videos, maybe the next episode of my playthrough here. And until then, bye bye.